But the point is like what you're talking about, the free motion of the golf swing, is see when we reposition ourselves. I mean, once we turn away from the ball, we totally lose the concept of the flight line.
Right.
All right. So once we get to here, now in order for me to get my center of gravity into the back of the ball, I can no longer open up that left hip like this way.
If you do, you lost all the power. You don't know where it's going to go, whether it's going up or down or forward or in the right field or out in the left field. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And then so once we get up to the top, see, we're allowing our weight, and the golf club is aimed out to the right. And when I come through the ball, I'm actually swinging the club across the flight line.
Yeah, the reason you do that, let me show. Now, this action here, look here, it's the anterior rotation of that right hip. You're just starting at basic in here with the synergistic muscles of the internal external obliques. So you're using the muscles in the stomach to help the turn, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, that turning of this hip anteriorly to this posted left leg creates this rotation, you know, along with these synergistic muscles of the internal external obliques. It's a combination of that rectus femoris.
It's like a motion.
Yeah, see, go ahead. Do it again. Do it again. Now, go ahead. Now you feel, see this left sphenia recti muscle, right?
No.
Yeah, right here. Now come up with this now. Now push down with the gluteus maximus here. Now what we are doing, you have to crimp this. Understand? You got to crimp them. What else from bone? You crimp. And you're using a strong action of this, doing a slight posterior motion. Understand?
Right.
Okay, now that causes the left hip to get anterior. So it goes out here like this. Because of that, that makes the club go across the line. If that hip doesn't turn out, the club cannot go across that, okay?
Boom.
That's right. Can you see that?
Boom. Yeah. I can see it. Now, when you say hip out, explain that in detail. That's
Well,
a
look
major
here.
coaching point.
Here's the hip back here. Now the hip is doing that, and it's posting around that.
Okay, I'm right here, so my hip's not doing like that.
No.
It's going boom.
Yeah.
Like,
Now turn the belly button. Turn the belly button.
boom, like that.
See that?
And you turn it without turning your head that way.
See that turning of that belly button is done with the synergistic muscles.
Okay, now explain. Okay, now really the only tension, the only muscle that's kind of in a little bit of an active state is the muscle.
Well, you see, that's to set the arm from raising or lowering. If you have to feel like the deltoid and the pec supports this arm, okay?
Right, and so when we go back, the arm moves exactly the same speed as the chest.
Stays right on plane.
Right, and if you get going too fast, you can create a little slough in there, right?
Yeah.
Which I used to do.
Yeah. See,
All right.
now look here. I'm starting, basically, I feel like the hands are starting first, but the body is coordinated to work right with it. So you're starting here, you want to feel like you're starting here, but you let the body work right in.
But you got a little, you know,
Yeah,
when
I
you
do
say
it.
that, you do a little forward press.
I do a little forward press.
Do a little
see.
forward press, and when he
That's
does
to
it,
give me
that breaks the hands.
A running start backwards, okay?
All right. Okay, we'll do it in slow motion. You can describe it, okay?
All right.
Now the setup, just a little bit of deal there, and we got our arms in good position. We got a good balance. Just a little bit more weight on the left side.
Now, the reason I do that forward press is to start it back in coordination, the body, the arms, the feet, and legs. Now, that's great. That's good position. Now, the blade now is on plane. See, now the blade is this way. Now, look, it's on plane. That blade is like this. look, and it's coming back on plane. Pick up that heel, bend that knee, turn that right hip now, turn the stomach. Now fold the left elbow, keep the right elbow from doing it. Now that you're finished up. Your right hip caught up with your left hip.
Yeah, you get a little momentum with a slow motion.
And they are perpendicular to the plate line. The right knee caught up with your left knee, and it's perpendicular to the plate line, okay?
It's just like boom.
Parallel is here, here. Perpendicular is that, you see?
It's like when you come through the ball, it's like your right hand and your right heel, like if they come together,
yeah,
right about the ball.
Yeah. See, now your belly button now is about 6 or 8 inches ahead of that center
Chin.
line. The center line. You're holding this chin still on the backswing by contracting the sternocleidomastoid. It comes from here down to this clavicle. You see.
Mm-hmm.
And now that way you can turn your head without turning your shoulders. I mean, you can turn your shoulders without turning your head. Keep your head still.
Well, a couple things, like once we set up and we create our angle of address, is if we don't get off our right side and we come through the ball, then what happens is just the extension of the right leg, because there's literally no room, it forces the right shoulder up and over the top, and the head moves this way. Yeah. So you actually have, like you say, more energy in your ear than you do the club head. Yeah. And then for every shot that you hit, this belly button or CG, this area right here has got to be 5 or 6 inches ahead of the chin.
If it isn't,
in order to,
you're not in a state of balance. Yeah.
And if this doesn't move, then this will happen every time.
Well, like here, most everybody swings that and keeps their coccyx right between the base of the spine and the ground, between their feet, understand? But we don't. We let the hips move that way. Your spine looks like it swing this way. It's a pendulum action of the spine. That pendulum action, I can knock a person at least 10 feet.
With it.
That right there.
Like that, yeah.
I took Guy Madison, and he wanted to play golf, and I'm cameras over at Lakeside. I had a sucker on the line. I was going to let me go with you. I said, go ahead. He hits the ball out of bounds. I said, pick it up, come down and put your ball where mine is, Same thing on the hole. He'd knock it. It's getting dark. We're going to play 3 holes, the coffee shot, what you call the coffee shot. That is play 3 holes, And he knocked it out of bounds. Second, I said, pick it up, coming up here. We won't get through. Well, I got through, but let him pick up and walk there instead of trying to find a bull, understand?
But
then he came over for lesson the next day. I said, man, you don't do anything with your hips and your legs. You're doing it shoulders and hands. And your hands are like that when you hit it. So the blade is, the angle of approach is equal to the angle of separation. That's basic law, see? You swing something and hit it at 180, comes off 100. Go at 30, comes off 30, you see.
But
But he never had his blade square to the center of the fairway when it met, you see.
See, I thought one of the, it seems like a lot of modern day golf, they're always talking about great big muscles and so on and so forth, how it does everything. One of the best illustrations you ever did is like, if I took a sword and I cut this arm off, and I cut that arm off, and I cut that leg off, and that leg, and I put your arms and legs over here, and I put your chest and your, what you call it there, all that big muscle, that big part of that body, it can't do anything.
I'll tell you one thing,
without the appendages.
You couldn't get off your back. If you hold your stomach, you couldn't get off your stomach without the appendages.
And the ankle, knees, and hips actually create the function to work the torso,
right,
which the plane sits on top of. So it's essential, if we're trying to create, once we establish our address position, this is literally just like a machine, the human body. And what you're doing and what you've done is teach someone how to use it the way it's designed along with the muscle. But we're trying to create a circle, swing it around that circle right there.
Yes, but along to that we have a semicircle attached to it, a half, 90 degrees, cork into the hands, away from the ball, return to 0 and 90 degrees on the other side.
And when you say a semicircle, this movement right here, see?
That's a quarter.
That independent motion right there.
Without that, I tell you, it worked like hell with little results.
like you say, you're out there wrestling a bear for 5 hours, you know,